The only regret I would say is that linguistically it's not my strongest point and I haven't been able to master the Vietnamese language.
Who are the players that play for African team? How do you think, what do they do to earn money to sustain themselves in Vietnam? What's the connection? What brought you? Why would you say is the connection or the passion or the motivation for you to come and acquaint yourself with the African team? How did you feel when your husband came back home and looked you in the face, looked you in the eye and said, I am the head coach of the African team in Vietnam?
You know, extremely proud.
But I'm not getting paid for it. You alright? African roots. African roots.
These roads intersect, on each one I reflect. These lines write my story. These places change me, each one replacing. Like night into morning, I miss the open air, the going anywhere, riding with you like we used to. Guess I'm better off alone.
Hello, and welcome to today's special edition of African Roots in Vietnam. As you can see, I'm at a football training field. So at this special edition, we'll be speaking to the British-born coach of the African team in Vietnam, Mr. James McAloon. We'll get to understand what's the motivation behind him acquainting himself with the African team and what's been going on. What's the African team all about? We have an African team over 15 nationalities. I don't know what goes on in here, but he's the coach. You'll hear from him today about what African team is all about.
On green, get out. Okay, stop. Tofik, you did exactly the same thing that I asked you not to do. You've lost the ball, your head went to the ground, you're not ready to support the play. Yeah, it was but if you think.
Never know when I'll get home, but I know that home's where the heart is. Guess I'm better off this way.
Does anybody have any questions?
Coach, I know you, but can you introduce yourself to the viewers?
Yeah, so my name's James McAloon. I've been in Vietnam for 5 years now, coming on 6. Before that I was in Korea and I was brought up in England and Ireland. My parents are both from Ireland and I spent my youngest years there. And then I moved over to England and then found my way to Asia. I've been on a bit of a trip.
Oh yeah, I can see that. So you've been in here, you've been there, you've been all over the place, but you've been in Vietnam for close to 6 years?
Yeah,
now?
6 years, yeah.
I usually ask, like most of our guests, this question: what brought you to Vietnam?
So many things, but a culmination of the fact that it was the right time.
Okay.
So when it's the right time, it means that there's many things pulling you here. So we'd been in Korea for nearly 10 years.
Oh wow!
And 2 times we'd been there, and we'd done a lot of things there. I'd set up my football academy, but also my wife was progressing through her career.
Nice.
And we both needed a new challenge and something different. And we'd been to Vietnam on a vacation, we thought it was great.
Oh, okay.
And we weren't specifically saying, oh, it has to be Vietnam. We were looking around different places, Europe, Thailand, Vietnam, different areas. And fortunately, my wife, who, as you know, is is a very strong career-minded woman, and she got an offer of an excellent position.
Yeah.
And we decided that that was a good platform for us to move. We always weigh it up. We say, okay, is it my time or your time to make the right change? And at that time, it was my choice to go back to Korea the second time. So it was her choice. It was our choice, but we were going for the fact that she'd been offered a great job. So that got us here and gave me a little bit of time to figure out what I wanted to do, which was good by me. So
yeah,
it was
awesome. So will you say 6 years down the line, will you say it's been a very good experience, or there are some regrets?
No perfect experience.
Yeah.
There's so much opportunity in Vietnam, and not just with the economy and the social aspect, but also with football. We were living in Korea. Korea's a great place as well, but we were living in a smaller city.
Okay.
Not a small city, like 1 million people.
Yeah.
It was
relatively small
compared to Ho Chi Minh, and to come into Vietnam, where I believe that for my own personal ambitions, there's so much that could be done then and still can be done in the football world.
Okay.
So when you see that there's an opportunity to add value, then that was great for me. And first, it took a while to find my kind of footsteps and find where I could add the most value and I could do the most good. But quickly found the African team, and the story there. I've been doing that for a while, but also gave me an opportunity to look at my academy in Korea, how we could develop the concept here, but also kind of develop my education as well, because that was youth football, and I wanted to move more into senior football. Although I'd already been involved in senior football, I needed to develop my own understanding and knowledge, so I was able to go and do my coaching licenses, renew my licenses, my A, B and C license, which was really important. And then I was able to come back and spend a lot of time working in senior football and take opportunities to better myself as a coach, which was really important. So
nice.
No regrets really. The only regret I would say is that linguistically is not my strongest point, and I haven't been able to master the Vietnamese language.
I got that.
That's maybe the regret. But apart from that, no.
All right, coach, before I take you on that, I need to clarify this for most people who don't know what A, B, C, Z licenses means. What does that mean? What are you trying to say? Are you doing this for your passion, or because you are a qualified coach? Can you explain that?
Well, it's both.
Both?
Yeah. So in terms of coaching, to be a professional coach, you have to have a certain level of education. Coach education.
Yeah.
Anyone can coach, of course. They can try it, but if you want to develop it in a professional manner, you have to take your coaching licenses. So your C license is your foundation license, which is beyond, like, you can do simple courses to do an E license and a D license, but C is like your basic professional license. And then B license is I'm taking this a bit more seriously. Means you can. C license means you can sit on the bench in a professional club. B license means you can be like an assistant coach. A license means in most professional leagues you can be the head coach. And then there's the pro license, which I'm going to start in June, which means that you can be in the Asian Champions League or the Champions League, or be a national team coach.
So you've gone from C to B to A.
Yeah.
And now it's the pro
license starting in June.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's new news for me. I only found out on Thursday, I think.
Nice.
I got a call saying there's an opportunity to do it. Would you come and do the course with us? And I was, I've been looking to do it for the last 3 years, but it's really difficult to get an opportunity because there is so few courses per year, because obviously it's kind of like a master's level qualification, so not every country can deliver it, and if they do deliver it, it takes 2 years to complete, and only like 20 to 30 people get accepted per year, so it's great. It's a highly competitive field, so it's difficult.
That's huge.
So I'm pretty excited about that. So
I'm so happy. I'm just hearing that for the first time, and I'm super duper happy for you, man.
But in terms of the passion, you can't do anything without passion. And if you do, it's pretty obvious that you're not engaged. So obviously we come here, we work like we try to make it as good as possible, but nobody here is getting paid. Actually, everybody's paying to train, but you can see that the environment is good.
I will get to that. I will
Yeah.
get to that. But can you tell us a little bit? African team is it's very close to me.
Sure.
I've been a part of African team for years, and then you came along.
Yeah.
I was wondering what's the connection? What brought you? Why would you say is the connection or the passion or the motivation for you to come and acquaint yourself with the African team?
So a little bit of fate,
Yeah.
a little bit of I believe in fate. I believe you're put in places at times and
For a purpose.
for a purpose, obviously, and then people say, oh, you have to be prepared and so on and so forth. But I met, when I first arrived here, I didn't know anyone really.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone who lived in the city, but football is something that always brings people together.
Yeah.
So I went and got online, found the Saigon International Football League, and I messaged their group and said, I've just arrived, I want to join a team, do you recommend any? I didn't know any. And I ended up going out to District 7 and playing for a team called Saigon Fusion.
Okay.
And there was our good friend Solomon.
Yeah.
He was playing there with some of the African team players. Maybe they're not still here now, but at that time there was Chicoze, Prince, Stanley, who else? Prince Peter, and a few other guys who were playing out there.
At the Saigon Fusion?
Yeah, Saigon Fusion. So we played with them for like a year, but as that time went by, we were training together, and I got to know that what the guys were doing here. And they said, oh, we're here, we train with the African team in the morning, and then some of us have looking for opportunities, as in we've been for trials or we've played with clubs before. I think Flo was there as well, Coach Flo, and Akbara came sometimes as well. So obviously you get talking about it, and then you realize that, okay, that sounds great, that sounds interesting, that sounds like something I wouldn't mind being a part of. And then I asked Solomon about it, and he said, we can come along and get involved if you want, but this obviously, you just come and see what you think at first, and then slowly over time I spent more time there, and I got a feeling for what it was all about, and again about adding value. It was like, I know if I come to the team, I can make it better, I can create more opportunities for people, I can improve the likelihood that there's going to be success. So that's what I wanted to do, and I had time. I was luckily that I got my own business, so I was financially secure. My wife's got a great job, so I had a little bit of time to really follow that passion and progress, and also it's going to help me, because that's what I wanted to do. I want to be in senior football.
All right, talking about African team, who makes up the African team? Professional footballers, ex-footballers, business people. Who are the players that play for African team?
Well,
what is it all about?
There's a dynamic. There's a lot of people who have been involved and remain involved in African team, but it just, sometimes you could say there's a bit of a flow about when people are physically active in the team and when people are doing stuff in terms of supporting from the outside. So when I first came, it was a mix of players, business people, ex-players,
aspiring footballers.
Yeah, aspiring footballers. It was a real mix. As the time has gone by, it's become more of aspiring players, players who are between contracts, players who are still wanting to play.
To get into
not just they want to come and train, they want to play. Their ambition is to train here, learn, improve themselves, stay fit, and then find an opportunity somewhere in Asia or elsewhere. But there's lots of people, there's so many. Obviously the team has been evolved for and I'm not ever sure of completely the history, but maybe the last 13, 14 years.
I think I know more about the history.
Yeah, exactly. So I will leave that to you. But the team now, as you can see, it's mostly young guys.
The African team was born out from ex-footballers who were looking for a way to train when they are not at the clubs, or some players who are actively playing, who are looking for to keep fit, so that when they are called upon to go back to their teams, they can be physically fit to get back into the team. Then it evolved, as you said, with aspiring footballers and people who are coming in to sign for the for some football clubs in Vietnam. So there's a lot of history that dates back to 14, 15 years ago. Even when I came to Vietnam, I met African team. I was training with the African team right from the get-go. So it's been a very long affiliation with the African team for a while. One of the things people don't really know about African team is that it's called African team, but it's not just entirely an African team.
Yeah.
How many nationalities do you think makes up the African team?
So in the period of time I've been working, so like the last 6 years, I think you would probably go up 25, even 30.
25 nationalities.
Yeah, it's a team, like its African team is like brings the bond together, and
Yeah.
you'll see it on the badge there.
Yeah, of course.
Love, unity, and progress. I think that's a really, I don't know
Yeah.
who made it, but
Yeah, it was-
it's a really
was some of
strong
the elders,
message.
yeah.
Not really strong message, and I think that's something that embodies what we do here. So even this morning, I think you would have seen more than 15 nationalities. So we got 20 players, or maybe there were 23 players here this morning. Some not playing.
Nationalities.
Okay, maybe 15 is a bit much, but maybe 12. Maybe
They
12
are not
different.
just from Africa.
No,
they're from
no,
all over the
no.
world.
We had Australian, Malaysian, South African, obviously from Africa, South African, English, German, Brazilian,
Argentines, Vietnamese.
yeah, everywhere. So it's a dynamic. It's a group where if you want to come and you want to get better, you want to progress, you can do it 100%. And we've had a lot of success in terms of domestically, in terms of winning competition, but also the ultimate goal is creating opportunities for players to go on and do something more. Yeah. So, and that's the driving force, really.
How do you generate funds to keep this team going?
There's a lot of people who have contributed over the years, in terms of our say sponsors, but our well-wishers, our patrons who will provide money, and I'm sure that there's a long list. So I won't try and name them all for the fear of leaving somebody out. But you all know who you are, and we thank you so much for that. But also, it's the players who support it. It's the coaches who support it. In terms of the finances, everybody here comes and pays a fee every morning. And that fee ranges from 20,000 to 40,000, depending on how many fields we're using, how long we're training for, if we're taking ice after training, if we're low on balls, then everybody has to contribute. And again, from my side, I contribute as well because I want to be here. This is what I want to do as my career, my profession. I'm lucky to be able to work with players who are striving for more. So even when you go into a fully professional environment, sometimes your players are there, they're perfect, but some of them already feel like they've made it, which means that they don't, not say this isn't exclusively, but the players here, they know that they didn't, or they've made it before, and they need to get back there. So their desire to learn, the desire to do more is higher. So some people say, it must be difficult working in this environment whereby nobody's paid. But actually, it's not. It's easier.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm asking. How do you keep the players motivated?
Well, they motivate themselves. My job is to make them better in terms of their technical awareness. In terms of technically, it's difficult. All the players here are over 18. They've reached a level whereby it's difficult to improve someone's first touch. It's difficult to improve somebody's passing range, stuff like that. But tactically, you can make them more aware. And in terms of their passion to do better, to do more, they drive themselves. But I've got to make them feel confident, make them feel loved, make them feel individual as a person, make them feel like there are opportunities there and they are improving.
But
So-
actively, like competitively, how do you keep the players engaged or active? Or do we just train every day?
We don't always just train. We have games, but the last year's been complex
Because of the
because of
situation.
COVID. Unfortunately, there's the kind of idea that we're foreigners and maybe sometimes we haven't been invited to tournaments because, it's foreigners, and it's not like an official kind of stigma, but it's like, foreigners, but maybe I don't know, but that's definitely a feeling that we've had. But we have been invited to play some games recently, We played against Dong Nai a couple of times and Anjiang, and we're playing against Dong Nai on Thursday again. So hopefully as things settle down, we'll be able to be invited back to the tournaments again, and we can continue to progress, because it never matters. Everyone says, oh, but this player left and that player left, oh, your team must be... No, there's always somebody there to step in. And
that's why I keep wondering, because the players you have here today might not be here tomorrow.
No, correct.
Players come in and go, and some sign contracts in other nations, other countries, and some sign in Vietnam leagues.
Yeah.
So how do you keep getting players to come over here and join the team? Where do the players?
For me, I don't know. For me, I've never brought any player here. Okay. Only players who have been already around.
Okay.
Or some of the younger players who might train with the academies, and I say, oh look, you know, do you want to come and train? And they'll come and train. But this is another thing, that when you talk about why do the players stay inspired? Why do they stay
even though they are not getting jobs?
Is because they will see one player move for their position, go somewhere, achieve something, and they say, hey, okay, this is my chance. If they can do it, I can do it. Like, and I'll give you an example of recently, Munzir. He was one of the players. He was here for about a year. I think he came at similar time. And
Mohammed as
well. And Munzir didn't really, when he first came, he came from China. His brother was here. He brought him here, and he was a little bit despondent about his football opportunities and careers, and it hadn't quite worked out for him. But over the last year, he worked really hard. He got to a position whereby he had an opportunity to move to another country and sign a contract, and he left. And then Emil, one of the other players, saw, okay, he can do it. Why can't I do it? So he stepped into the role, and now he stepped up. And whereas before he maybe was kind of shadowed by Munzir's growth, now he's got an opportunity. So when you see people succeeding, you see people moving on, you think, okay, well, if they can do it, I'm as good as them. Let me try. But yeah, we haven't had any new players specifically recently.
Recently, because of the COVID situation. I understand that. Now, very importantly, most of the players here are like aspiring footballers or ex-footballers. But how do you think? What do they do to earn money to sustain themselves in Vietnam?
So that's always a difficult thing, because when you want to be a footballer, or you've been a footballer and you want to get back to where you want to be, as soon as you start to move your focus away from football, sometimes you can find a level of comfort that means that okay, I don't need it anymore, and that's okay. That's okay. People want to make a choice, but most of the guys here, they will have jobs. They will be coaching football. Some will be teaching English. Some will be going to work in a restaurant, or they will do something to sustain themselves. If not, maybe they'll go and play some games in tournaments that are around the country, and with the Vietnamese leagues, and not the professional leagues, but some of the seven-a-side leagues, and they'll get some money from doing that.
How did you feel when your husband came back home and looked you in the face, looked you in the eye, and said, I am the head coach of the African team in Vietnam?
You know, extremely proud.
But I'm not getting paid for it. So, to put you on the spot, what would you say has been like the biggest achievement you've made so far in African team? You're right.